June 6th, 1944, 4:50 in the morning. The coast of Normandy is burning. Inside a bunker on the French shore, a German officer turns the dial of a radio receiver. Static fills the air, the crackle of interference. Then, a voice, perfect German, no accent. Attention! Emergency bulletin. Allied forces have begun a massive invasion of the Normandy coast. Across France, hundreds of German officers simultaneously tune to this frequency. Radio dials click, pencils scratch across paper. They're writing down coordinates, beach names, ship counts. In Berlin, the Ministry of Propaganda is silent. Goebbels hasn't gone on air yet. No official news. The German command is listening to an enemy radio station, and they believe every word. How did this become possible? To understand this moment, we need to go back 12 years to a man Adolf Hitler called Mein Liebling. His name was Sefton Delmer. Born in 1904 in Berlin, father a British professor, mother Australian. The family settled in Germany. Delmer attended a German gymnasium, played with German children, spoke German without the slightest accent. It was his native language. By 1932, he'd become a correspondent for the Daily Express. Young, bold, with a British passport and a German soul. The perfect combination for a journalist in pre-war Germany. April 1932, Adolf Hitler is running for president. Delmer gets access. He accompanies him on the campaign trail, flies in the same plane, sits at the same table. Hitler calls him Mein Liebling, my favorite foreign journalist. Delmer sees him up close. Gestures, speech patterns, psychology. He remembers everything. 1933, the Nazis come to power. Delmer realizes his British passport is no longer protection. He flees Germany, but the connections remain. The knowledge remains. Understanding the enemy from within remains. The Germans don't listen. Listening to foreign radio was forbidden under threat of the highest punishment. But even those who risk it don't believe. Of course the British say we're losing. They're the enemy. Why trust them? White propaganda is dead on arrival. 1940. Delmer is invited to join the Political Warfare Executive, a secret psychological warfare division. Mission: break German morale. Question: how? Delmer proposes a radical idea. Don't tell the truth as British. Tell lies as Germans. May 1941. Gustav Siegfried Eins goes on air, the first black propaganda station. The voice on air presents himself as a Prussian officer. He doesn't criticize Hitler. On the contrary, he's a rabid anti-Semite, a fanatical nationalist, but he furiously attacks party bosses, corrupt generals, SS men who are betraying the real Germany. The station doesn't hide where it's broadcasting from. Germans quickly figure out it's a British operation, but they listen, because it gives them an alibi. I'm not listening to the enemy. I'm listening to real German patriots criticizing corruption. The method works. Delmer creates internal divisions. Army against SS, front against home front, soldiers against party functionaries. 1943. News station, Soldatensender Calais, Soldiers Broadcaster Calais. The name says it. We're broadcasting from occupied France for German soldiers. Format: music, news, gossip, sports. 90% pure truth, verifiable facts, precise numbers, real events. 10% poison, disinformation about troop movements, rumors about leadership corruption, hints of conspiracies. German soldiers listen, first thousands, then tens of thousands. By the end of 1943, Soldatensender Calais is among the top 3 most popular radio stations in major German cities. 41% of German military personnel regularly tune to this frequency. In Munich, they listen to it more than official German radio. November 43, Goebbels writes in his diary, "The station does very clever propaganda work. The Minister of Propaganda of the Third Reich admits defeat."
Delmer understands psychology. Germans know Soldatensender is a British station, but they trust it more than Goebbels because it doesn't deceive them about facts. It gives them information their own government is hiding, and that creates trust. By June 1944, Delmer had built the most dangerous weapon of war, the trust of millions of German soldiers. 3 years of work, hundreds of broadcasts, thousands of hours on air, and all of it could collapse in one night, the night before the most important day of the war. June 5th, 8 p.m. Soldatensender Calais headquarters in Bedfordshire, England. A courier from military intelligence brings a sealed envelope. Delmer opens it, reads the first line, freezes. Operation Overlord, H hour, approximately 0630, 6 June 1944. The landing, tomorrow, dawn. He knows details no one in Germany knows. 5 beaches, tens of thousands of soldiers, the largest amphibious operation in history, and he can tell the Germans about it before their own government does. Question, should he? For 3 years, Soldatensender pretended to be an independent German station, criticized the party, but didn't openly reveal itself as a British operation. The Germans knew the truth, but they had an alibi. If tomorrow Delma reports the landing before Goebbels, with details only Allied intelligence could know, it will finally tear off the mask. 3 years of work, 41% audience share, everything at stake. In Berlin, at the same time, Goebbels prepares for a normal day. The Ministry of Propaganda works by protocol. First, the military confirms information, then the press office formulates a statement, then the minister goes on air. Chain of command, bureaucracy, safety. Delmer has no bureaucracy. He has a direct line to intelligence, information in real time, speed versus accuracy, risk versus caution. Midnight. Delmer doesn't sleep. Outside the window, a June night. Across the channel, in the darkness, the fleet is already moving toward the shores of France.
1:30 a.m. The first paratroopers junk behind enemy lines. German radar picks up interference. Coastal batteries open blind fire. Commanders demand information. Communication lines are overloaded. Chaos. 2 a.m. Soldatensender studio. Delmer gathers the team. 8 people around a table. Maps of Normandy. Intelligence radiograms, cups of cold coffee. We know what's happening. Goebbels doesn't. We can report it first. First voice. If we report details before official German sources, we'll expose ourselves completely. Everyone will know for certain we're a British operation. Second voice. They already know. 41% listen to us knowing who we are. Third voice. Knowing isn't the same as seeing proof. Right now they have an alibi. After tomorrow's broadcast, they won't. Delmer is silent, fingers drumming on the table. German commanders in Normandy are in the dark right now. Their own command doesn't understand the scale. Hitler's asleep. Goebbels is waiting for orders, and they hear explosions and don't know what's happening. Fourth voice. And they'll turn on the radio. Yes. And the question is, who will they hear first? Us or Goebbels? Pause. If we stay silent, Goebbels wins. He'll say it's a local attack, a diversion. The soldiers will believe him. If we tell the truth, they'll know the scale, but they'll lose their last alibi for listening to us. Delmer stands, walks to the window. For 3 years, we've been building trust. You know what it's based on? Not on us pretending to be Germans, on us not lying about facts. Goebbels lies. We don't. That's the difference. Turns to the team. Tomorrow, Goebbels will lie. He'll say the situation is under control, that it's an insignificant attack, because he can't admit the truth, that this is the beginning of the end. But we can tell the truth, and the Germans will choose who to believe, the liar who is their government, or us. 3 a.m. Radiograms continue to arrive. The landing is going according to plan. Thousands of ships, first tanks on shore.
3:30. German High Command still doesn't understand the scale. They think it's a diversion. The real landing will be at Pas-de-Calais. That's what their intelligence says. Delmer reads intercepted German radio communications. Officers demanding orders, getting no response. Panic on the airwaves. 4 a.m. Decision made. We go on air at 4:50. Full report. All details. Beach names, coordinates, number of ships. That will expose us. No. It will prove we're the only ones telling the truth when it matters. 4:30. The team prepares the script. Tone of the broadcast, not triumphant, not "we've won," but informational, breaking news. German patriots warning of catastrophe on the Western Front. 4:45. The announcer takes his place at the microphone. In front of him, sheets with text, maps, numbers. 4:48. Delmer stands at the studio window, light behind the glass. The announcer checks equipment. The engineer gives a thumbs up. 4:49. 60 seconds to air. Outside the window, dawn is breaking. Across the channel, on the shores of Normandy, the battle unfolds. In Berlin, Goebbels is still asleep, and in the Soldatensender Calais studio, the red light blinks. 30 seconds. 20. 10. The microphone goes live. The next 7 hours will decide who wins the battle for the minds of the German army. 4:50 a.m. The red light is on. A voice on air. German without accent.
Tone urgent but not panic. Informational. Attention to all units. Emergency bulletin about the situation on the Western Front. Pause. All Allied forces have begun a large-scale amphibious operation on the Normandy coast. The landing commenced at 0630 Berlin time. Then, details. Specific, verifiable, deadly accurate. 5 landing points. Allied code names: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, Sword. Coastal sector from Sainte-Marie-du-Mont to Wisterham. Extent 80 kilometers. Numbers. Preliminary data: more than 5,000 ships. Air cover up to 2,000 aircraft. Landing forces estimated 150,000 men in the first wave. Maps. Coordinates. Division names: 4th U.S. Infantry Division, Utah Beach. 1st and 29th U.S. Divisions, Omaha Beach. 50th British Division, Gold Beach. This isn't propaganda. This is an intelligence briefing. The broadcast lasts 12 minutes, then music, then repeat. Every hour. 5:30 a.m. A bunker 15 kilometers from Omaha Beach. A German officer, an Oberlieutenant of an artillery battery, listens. 3 subordinates beside him, radio receiver on a wooden table. Pencil in hand, he writes beach names in the margins of a map. Utah, Omaha, 5,000 ships. Junior Lieutenant, Herr Oberlieutenant, this is an enemy station. I know. We shouldn't. Where are our reports? Why is division headquarters silent? Why is no one responding to requests? Silence. We've been hearing explosions for 3 hours. Our positions are being bombed. Radars show hundreds of targets, and command gives no information. Someone must know what's happening. He points to the receiver. They know. 6 a.m. Headquarters of Army Group B, La Roche-Guyon, France. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, commander of Atlantic Wall Defenses, is in Germany. It's his wife's birthday. He took leave. Left yesterday evening. His chief of staff, General Hans Speidel, tries to contact Supreme Command in Berlin. Lines are overloaded. No one picks up. Communications officers shrug helplessly. On the table, reports from the coast. Contradictory. Incomplete. One talks about saboteurs, another about a local attack, a third about paratroopers in the rear. No one understands the scale. Speidel sends a courier to wake Field Marshal von Rundstedt, Commander-in-Chief West. Need permission to move tank divisions to the coast. Rundstedt refuses to make a decision without Hitler. Wake the Führer. No one dares. 6:30, Berlin. Reich Chancellery. Adolf Hitler sleeps. Went to bed at 4 a.m. as usual. Adjutants stand at the bedroom doors, whispering. Reports from France are contradictory. Maybe it's a false alarm. Maybe wait.
Minister of Propaganda Joseph Goebbels in his office. Before him, telegrams. Military demands to wait for official confirmation. Intelligence doubts. Maybe it's a diversionary maneuver, and the real landing will be at Pas-de-Calais. Protocol demands accuracy. Can't go on air with unverified information. Can't create panic. Must wait for clarity. Goebbels waits. 7 a.m. Across France, German radio operators scan the airwaves. Soldatensender Calais transmits an update. New details. Tanks on shore. Beachheads expanding. Allied aviation dominates the sky. A communications officer at 352nd Infantry Division headquarters writes down the information, passes it to the commander. He looks at the map. Landing points match reconnaissance reports. Where are they getting this data? I don't know, Herr General, but it's accurate. 7:30. First Allied tanks move inland into France. German counterattacks fail. Radio communications are chaotic. Commanders demand reinforcements. Headquarters demand confirmations. The circle closes, and Soldatensender Calais keeps broadcasting every hour. Real-time updates. 8 a.m. Hitler is finally awakened. He listens to the report, frowns. Still doesn't believe this is the main landing. Orders to wait. Don't move reserves from Pas-de-Calais. It's a diversionary maneuver. Tank divisions stay in place. In Berlin, Goebbels still waits, refines wording, coordinates the statement with military, protocol, bureaucracy, safety. And in Normandy bunkers, German officers listen to Soldatensender Calais and make decisions based on enemy information because the enemy knows more than their own command. 8 a.m. Bletchley Park, England. British Decryption Center. An operator removes his headphones, turns to the liaison officer. "Sir, you need to hear this. Recording of German radio communications, intercepted 20 minutes ago. 352nd Division Headquarters, transmitting to command. Voice in German. According to radio reports, landing executed at 5 sectors: Utah, Omaha, Gold."
The officer stops the recording. Radio reports? They don't say according to intelligence or according to observations? No, sir. They're using information from the broadcast. Another recording, different division. Number of Allied ships estimated at 5,000. Data requires verification, but corresponds to radio transmissions. The officer understands. Germans are quoting Soldatenssender Calais in official military reports. Information is sent to Bedfordshire. 9:30. Soldatenssender studio. The phone rings. Delmer picks up, listen, nods, hangs up, turns to the team. Bletchley intercepted German command communications. They're using our information in their reports, quoting our broadcasts. Silence in the studio. They're not just listening to us, they're relying on us. One of the operators, a young lieutenant who doubted the decision 3 hours ago, exhales slowly. "We didn't lose trust." Delmer shakes his head. "No, we strengthened it because we told the truth when their own government stayed silent." He doesn't smile, doesn't celebrate, just looks at the map of Normandy where colored pins mark the landing beaches. Continue. Next broadcast at 1000 hours. Updated data. 11:30. Berlin. Goebbels' office. The Minister of Propaganda looks at the statement text. 5th revision. Military demanded the removal of the word invasion to panic-inducing, replaced with landing attempt. Then removed numbers, too specific. Then softened the assessment. Situation under control. Goebbels understands. The more he edits, the less truth remains. But protocol is protocol. Can't create panic, can't admit the scale of catastrophe. Noon, German radio, ceremonial music. Then, the announcer's voice. The Minister of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda, Dr. Joseph Goebbels, makes a statement on the situation on the Western Front. Goebbels' voice. Calm, confident. German people. Soldiers of the Wehrmacht. This morning, Anglo-American forces attempted a landing on a section of the northern French coast.
Attempted, not invasion. Attempted. Our valiant units met the enemy with organized resistance. The situation is fully under control. Enemy losses are significant. Not one number, not one name, not one specific detail. Command has taken necessary measures. Reserves are being moved to the combat zone. The enemy will not succeed. Rhetoric, propaganda, emptiness. The broadcast lasts 4 minutes. In a bunker in Normandy, the Oberleutnant of the artillery battery listens, then switches back to Soldatenssender Calais. There, updated data. Beachheads expanding. Allies advancing inland 2 to 3 kilometers. Specific settlements taken. Village names, coordinates. The Oberleutnant looks at his map. Soldatensender information matches what his observers see. Goebbels' information matches nothing. 12:30. Delmer listens to a recording of Goebbels' statement. Situation under control. He looks at his watch. 7 hours, 10 minutes have passed since the Soldatensender broadcast. He's 7 hours late and said nothing. Engineer beside him. He couldn't tell the truth. No, he couldn't. Because truth is admission of catastrophe. But we could, because for us, truth is a weapon. Delmer sets aside the transcript. He just lost. 1 p.m. Headquarters across France and Germany analyze the situation. 2 sources of information. Official German radio, situation under control, enemy losses significant. Soldatensender Calais, beachheads expanding, allies advancing, reserves not deployed. Officers look out windows, see smoke on the horizon, hear artillery thunder, read reports from the front. Who to believe? The Minister of Propaganda or the enemy radio station? Facts speak for themselves. 2 p.m. First cracks in morale. A lieutenant in a foxhole near Caen whispers to his comrade. Goebbels says everything's under control. But if everything's under control, why are we retreating? A captain in a command bunker. They said the invasion would be at Pas de Calais. Wrong. Said the Atlantic Wall was impregnable. Wrong. Now they say the enemy will be defeated. Why should I believe?
Listen to official reports. Don't listen to enemy radio. Though, if you need real data, Soldatensender is usually more accurate. Morale collapse doesn't happen in one day. It starts with questions, with doubts,
with the moment when soldiers realize their own government is lying to them and the enemy is telling the truth. June 6, 1944, the day Joseph Goebbels, Minister of Propaganda of the Third Reich, master manipulator of the masses, architect of the Führer cult, lost the battle for minds. Not to tanks, not to bombers, not to soldiers on the beaches, but to one man with a microphone who knew the truth and wasn't afraid to tell it. June 1944. July, August. Soldatensender Calais continues broadcasting. Every day, news from the front, stories of corruption in the party, rumors of conspiracies at the top, music, sports, and facts. Always facts. German soldiers keep listening, now without alibi. They know it's the enemy, but the enemy doesn't lie, and their own government lies constant. Morale falls, not in collapse, but slow erosion. Each broadcast, a drop of doubt. Each Goebbels lie, another crack in trust. By the end of the war, post-war surveys of German POWs will show 41% regularly listened to Soldatensender Calais, higher than any other foreign station, higher than BBC. May 7, 1945, Germany surrenders. In the Bedfordshire studio, Delmer closes the microphone for the last time. 3 years, 9 months, Operation Soldatensender ran without interruption. Thousands of broadcasts, millions of listeners. The British government orders silence. Black propaganda methods remain classified. No public recognition, no medals. The operation is erased from history. Delmer returns to journalism, writes articles, tells no one about the war. 1962, 17 years after surrender, Delmer publishes memoirs, Black Boomerang, first public admission of the operation's existence. The book causes scandal. The British government refuses to comment. Intelligence services neither confirm nor deny.
Delmer receives no official recognition, no medals, remains a journalist who once did something secret during the war. 1979. Sefton Delmer passed away at age 74. Obituaries in newspapers are brief. War correspondent, author of memoirs. His real contribution to victory remains known only to a narrow circle, but his methods live on. The CIA studies Soldatensender recordings in psychological warfare courses. MI6 uses Delmer's black propaganda blueprint in Cold War operations. Modern intelligence services analyze Delmer's balance: 90% truth, 10% poison. The method is simple. Don't convince the enemy to change views. Give them information their own government is hiding. Create a crack between people and power. Let doubt do the rest. The irony of history: Joseph Goebbels never learned who was behind Soldatensender Calais. Third Reich intelligence intercepted the signal, analyzed content, tried to identify the source, never did. Adolf Hitler passed away not knowing that his favorite foreign journalist, the man he trusted in 1932, was destroying his empire from within 12 years later. Delmer proved the paradox of information warfare. The most powerful weapon against lies isn't counter-lies, but truth at the right moment. Today, we live in an era where everyone fights for audience trust. Governments, corporations, media, influencers all compete for attention and belief. Methods have become more complex. Technology has changed, but the principle remains the same. On June 6, 1944, at 4:50 in the morning, Sefton Delmer bet on truth, risked 3 years of work for one moment of honesty, and won. Because when the world burns, people gravitate not to those who shout the loudest, but to those who tell the truth when it matters most.